Hello, guys, and welcome back to episode 6 of the Say What's podcast. So if you're still here after the first question on episode 5, I applaud you.
You're a real one.
You're a real one.
I've still
got horrors over that question, but, you know.
No, you've not.
Your answer.
I've got horrors after that question.
So, it's a new year, and do you want to get started with this one?
Yeah. First of all, Happy New Year, and I hope you all had an amazing
Year.
Christmas. We obviously have been a little bit slower just because we've had a pretty jam-packed Christmas, haven't we?
Yeah.
We did a lot of hosting and stuff this year, which actually I won't do next year because I feel like maybe a lot of people feel like this. I feel like when you host, it seems like a really great idea at the time and you love the thought of like having all your house lovely and getting all the food and everything. But actually you can't, as much as we did enjoy it, it's a lot, isn't it, to host, and like you're always worrying about everybody else. Everybody's got to be able to enjoy themselves a bit more.
I feel like...
And it wasn't me that didn't enjoy myself, but like my mum, cooking all day, and it's just a lot, isn't it?
I feel like I've always just turned up to Christmas.
Well, that's easy for you to say.
I've enjoyed it.
I sorted every single present, by the way. Yeah. Wrapped every single present. Sorted the food. We would have no Christmas if it was for Jack.
No, but what I'm saying is, even I can see, I'm like, oh, bless, you're doing all of this, or your mum's tidying up as we're going along. I can see that for certain members of the family, it's quite a stressful
I think it's always the women.
Event,
it's always the women.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. There's a lot of guys, my friends, who their dads cook. It's whoever cooks, really? I believe. Yeah, 100%.
I've not seen that because we don't have that with your mum cooks for your dad.
Yeah, but like my uncles, my mum's brothers are really good chefs, or not chefs, cooks. So
why didn't that get passed down to you then?
Because I could see how stressed everyone was and thought I ain't having that.
So we're now already thinking of Christmas next year. We're thinking, do you know what? We were either going to get away or we're going to go out for dinner because just my mum cooking all day.
I think if you could go out for the dinner and then come back, you've got none of the tidy, none of this. And do you know what? It is quite expensive usually to pay to go out for dinner. But then I think if you add up all of the food, plus you sort of kind of
wastage,
go over the top because you're worried that there might not be enough.
And there's that one day it's closed, the shops are closed, and you just overbuy for it, don't you?
I think it would probably work out very similar.
I do, definitely.
So we'll have to try that.
Yeah.
If anyone else is.
So that's where we were with the end of Christmas. Had an amazing Christmas, had an amazing run up to Christmas. Still don't think it lasts long enough, even though I started in October. I just go so quickly. And I feel like that everyone's in a rush to, like, we still have one tiny bit of garland up on the stairs that needs to come down. But we only had our tree taken down like 2 days ago. It's very bare in this house now.
It is.
It's very. I feel like we need new ornaments and furniture to make up for the loss.
Well, it's moving on to Easter now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been getting ready with the eggs and
I'm collecting eggs. Mainly because I just personally love now seeing. I mean, maybe I'll think of an excuse for everything, but I love seeing all the Easter stuff in because I know that the closer it gets to Easter, the closer we get to meet our little baby girl, because she is an Easter chick. We call her Bunny.
Yeah, I feel like... Sorry, carry on.
She's due... Well, I think Easter is April the 9th, and she's due on the 3rd. So she's very much an Easter chick. I've bought every single thing that I can find that's cute with a bunny on, haven't I?
Yeah, I feel like we're going to live, and I guess everybody does this that has children, you start to live all of the seasons or the celebrations again through your children. Like, I've not really cared about Easter since I was a child, but now I'm like, it's Easter.
Yeah.
She's going to love it. I mean, she isn't even going to know what's going on. She'll be like 1 week old, but we're like, she's going to love it. We've got to dress her up.
I know.
She might know that it's Easter.
I was thinking the other day, I'd love it if she was actually born on Easter Day.
What's the date of that?
It's the 9th this year. 9th. I guess it's different. Well, it's different
every
year. Yeah,
it's always a Sunday, isn't it?
It's. I don't know whether it's the first or the second Sunday or something in April, but that would just be amazing. I feel like she'd be so like blessed by the heavens being born on Easter Day. It'd be just so amazing. But however, I had a 4D scan the other day. When was it? 2 days ago?
Yeah.
4D scan.
And this is great news.
Jack couldn't make it.
That's not the great news.
And my mum couldn't make it either. She was absolutely gutted. But I haven't actually I hadn't had a scan since my 20-week NHS scan. Whereas before I was having them every 2 weeks, which sounds excessive, but because obviously I had IVF, and
you couldn't feel her moving at that time.
No.
So it was very much like we wanted to just check everything's okay. We're quite anxious.
We tried for nearly 6 years. Obviously, ended up having IVF, which was the biggest blessing, and then I think a lot of women that I've spoke to anyway can relate that you do have that very much anxiety. And I mean, a lot of women have it now, and the whole way through their pregnancy, and I totally understand, have that anxiety of like, is everything okay? And for me personally, when I could start to feel her moving, which was about 20 to 21 weeks in terms of flutters, and then now it's like she literally boots me.
And then that's when we started to back off the
scans, because we didn't feel like we needed.
Yeah, literally, we would start creating and like, is everything going to be okay? Because we were just so anxious at this point. And then as soon as we have the scan, we're like elated for like a week, and then it would sort of like go down a bit, and then we're like, should we have another scan? And then we're elated, it was up and down. That was our own feelings. I mean, but now you can feel her kicking. It's just. It's like, I know, it's absolutely
I know
unreal.
She's alive, and that makes me feel like, so we just didn't feel like we needed a scan. So we hadn't seen her for a really long time, and then so it had been nearly 2 months. I just, like I said, I could really feel her, so it felt good, and I didn't feel like I needed one. So I booked a 4D scan because I thought now is the time where people do have 4D scans, and what would be good, because I know on the usual scans now you can't see the full baby because they're that big. So I thought, I'd just love to see if I can see any of her face. And we had although she had I think she had the cord in her mouth and her hands in front of her face, and she was actually eating her foot. And I took my nan with me, and my nan was like, yeah, you used to eat your toenails all the time. You was trying to eat your feet. I was like, right. But yeah, there was a few times where we got really good little snippets of video and picture. And she looks just like, we thought on the last scan from the side profile, my mum, Jack's mum, me, I think even your dad said that looks like Jack.
She was a spitting image of me.
She was, and I was like, oh my god.
And I was secretly buzzing with this. And I don't know why, because I actually would rather her look like Tay than me. I love all of Taylor's features, and I'm not really that keen on mine.
Stop it. Not today.
And as a baby,
not today, honey.
No, I think I sort of peaked at about 6 years of age. I had a bowl cut.
I
was quite weighty. I had a bit of
meat
on me for the first time in my life, and I look back at pictures of me. Joe, what you were great. I wish I could stay like that. But as a child, as a very small baby, I was, I don't know.
What?
I was not. I wouldn't say as. I prefer the baby to have your features than mine.
Well, we want a good mix, don't we?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was quite shocked that when the scan came, she very much had my nose. I've got like a wide, short nose. She looked like she's got like the fullness of my lips, but the shape of Jack's, from what I can see. And when I put a little clip and a little photo on Instagram, I was like, oh my God, she's your double. And that makes it feel really, really real for me. Like, oh my God, like, this is my child. Like, this is my baby. Like,
and now I'm getting jealous.
And I can't stop looking at her nose, because I can really see more than anything that's my nose, and I just can't stop staring at it. And I'm like, oh my God, like I've actually passed downs. Like it's just wild. I can't stop staring at a video. There's this little tiny video we've got of her yawning, which I didn't even know that they could do inside the womb. But like the fact that I've already seen her yawn and she's not even born yet. Yeah. That just shows you how far like technology and what was
her weight?
She's a big old girl. She was 2 pounds and 12 ounces, which, to be fair, I have Googled, and I also spoke to somebody else I know who's pregnant at the minute, and they're, I think, 2 days in front of me. And they were pretty much the same as well. And also IVF babe. I feel like I'm justifying myself here for having a big baby when we know it's the big crispers. But yeah, she was 2 pounds 12 ounces. which is, I'd say, it feels pretty big.
I'm guessing that's
Nearly
close
£3.
to £3.
Yeah. And I think they do slow down. I don't know, but she's got 12 weeks left.
I believe. Well, I'm not an
I've
expert,
got to be a
but I
big
believe
mama.
they start to gain like £1 a week towards the very end.
Which is slightly concerning.
So
from this information, I mean, every week it could slow down completely. My mum said it will probably slow down. And we're just making this up because we just love making stories up, really. But we're like, I think she's going to end up coming a little bit early, like a week or two or something, just because she's big. She's an IVF baby, which they do say, a bigger, because obviously the exact date and everything. I don't know. I've just got a feeling she's going to come a little bit earlier.
What would that mean?
If she comes a couple of weeks earlier, and I mean, I only wanted to come when she's ready, so I'm not putting this out there for her to come when she's not. But if she did come a couple of weeks early, then she would end up being a Pisces all along.
Yay! Is that a blessing or a curse?
I don't know. I feel like
I love being a Pisces, but then I'm also quite like anxious and wish that I was a bit more.
I do feel like we need a bit of a fire sign in this house, which is an Aries. We're water signs, very emotional.
So would she be an Aries?
She would be an Aries. And if the cutoff, I feel like is the 21st of March. So she's got very, very good. She is basically going to be an Aries.
And we're strong believers of the signs.
We are.
In this house.
It's like the first thing I ask somebody, I'm like, what's your star sign? As soon as they say it, I'm like, right, let me weigh you up.
It's funny because I'm normally like, it's just a date. How can you define someone's whole personality on a day they're born? But then I'm starting to get into it and I'm like, oh, they're an Aries.
And Jack's mum's a Pisces. And I feel like I didn't know, I don't know whether I knew that or what. I feel like
I'm exactly like my mum.
You are exactly like your mum.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Is she February or March?
February the 19th.
Yeah, you're both.
I'm February the 23rd.
Jack's a Feb Pisces and I'm a March Pisces. Quite different. I'd say you and your mum are a lot more laid back than me. And just different kind of Pisces. But yeah, I feel like we do need a bit of fire in this house, a bit of a fire sign. Yeah. Someone who's going to bring a little bit of confidence, give us a little bit of confidence.
I'm looking for, I'd rather the person be more like a leader.
Yeah,
and
I'd say we are quite leadership people, but in a different way.
In any way.
You are massively. Like look at you in your work environment, 100%.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't feel it comes natural to me. I think
you've worked for it.
It just happened. I couldn't be
you
like,
to
let's
educate
say,
yourself.
I know you play football. There's some massive characters and they just,
take over.
They can speak in front of 20 people. They make everyone, I can't do that.
No, you're not someone who would take over, but put yourself in the right role and you are a very leadership person, 100%.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's
play a quick game.
Okay.
So the baby, let's go through our features. Who's out of ours two would you prefer? I know it doesn't matter actually. Like I'm not saying it doesn't matter what the baby looks like. We're gonna love her. Regardless.
Do you know what? Do you know what you're doing right now? This is like all of the stuff. The reason why we did the podcast, because say this stuff on Instagram and it's like,
this is just normal. It does. Generally doesn't matter. So
no, it doesn't. But I mean, like we don't have to.
It's just funny to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
So my question would be, if we go through our features, whose would you rather the babies have? Starting with
head shape. Yours.
Head shape.
Yours.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
You've got.
Go on. No, say what you were going to say.
It's a lovely head shape, but it's just not one for me. My daughter.
Did you see that? Yours is.
Would you, when you wear a helmet at like go-karting or skiing, what size is it? I'm saying quite large.
Yeah.
Mine's always a small.
Yeah.
Is a small head good?
Yeah, but all of mine.
Peanut head?
Yeah, but wherever you go, like your harness is smaller than mine. Your helmet's smaller than mine. Your ski pants
everything I have is just small or extra.
You know, some people get that really lovely, like, oh, wearing my boyfriend's jumper. Especially in like the beginning of when like you'd first go out and you could wear your boyfriend. I remember putting I literally remember being in my old bedroom at my mum's, and there was something left of Jack's, some kind of jumper, and I put it on and it was absolutely skin tight.
It was like Under Armour.
Yeah, it's like a thermal. I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I realised, yeah, I'm not going to be able to wear mine.
That's changed now because
you wear such
I
oversized
traditionally
stuff.
wear.
Now your oversized stuff is just my general.
I'm actually like XL in everything now because I prefer the oversized
Yeah,
fit.
but that's still slim fit on me.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely better now. But when you used to wear tight stuff, I could never have that. Like, wearing my boyfriend's sweater.
The funny thing is, once we've had, like, let's say, I don't know, a cleaner or something, they put all of my
stuff
jeans
in my wardrobe.
In Taylor's jeans in mine. Because Taylor's jeans are like, you know, wide jeans, and mine were like slim 28,
like tiny.
And I'm like,
I would not get my big toe in your old skinny jeans.
Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, so next one.
So head shape, it was definitely
eyes.
yours, and your jaw as well. I don't have a lot going on here, especially now. But you have a really, really nice jaw shape. Like it's very.
Thank you very much.
It's very model.
Let me get started on for that.
Yeah, it's gorge. I love it.
So let's go on to the nose.
No, we're missing eyebrows.
Oh, we're going from top to bottom.
Yeah, eyebrows. Yours. You've got really hairy brows. Like I look at your brows sometimes and I think, oh, I would just love to have them on my face and like clear brow gel them. And
well, I'm looking at your eyebrows and they look really bushy. Mine are very thin.
No, they're not. You've got really nice brows, and also I've got microblading on mine from like 5 years ago.
Right.
So yours are great, and your eyelashes are a joke.
Yeah, my eyelashes.
You
I
said to me
them over yours.
You said to mine the other day, you can't even see your eyelashes.
I haven't got any.
Thanks, man. This is why we have to wear individual lashes, because I just don't have any. But eyes, we've both got blue eyes.
Eyes, I would say you. And the funny thing is about your eyes, so many people, I don't know when or where, like let's say we've been out and makeup store or something, that maybe they're trying to sell you something. I
was just going to say,
maybe they're trying to sell you something. They always come up to Tay and say, you've got lovely eyes. I mean, they're probably trying to sell you.
I didn't say eyes, they said thighs.
Well, it's a compliment that's been said a few times.
Really nice.
And I would agree with that. They're lovely eyes. So, eyes. What about the nose?
Mine. Sorry.
Why?
Because I feel like...
What's wrong with mine?
There's nothing wrong with your nose.
It's slightly better.
Jack's saying recently, I'm going to have a nose job. I'm going to have a nose
job.
When I hit
foot... Joe, the thing is with your nose, it keeps growing,
Well, this is what I was just going to say before you rudely interrupted.
Sorry. I'm passionate about my nose.
You have got... Is it your dad's side or your mum's side nose?
They're both screwed. Sorry if you're listening. They are nice noses, but I just don't want to grow into them.
Too late, honey. Too late.
No, what it is the thing is with aging is
everything.
It's not nice to deteriorate, isn't it?
I think it's your nose and your ears
that
always grow.
Your nose and your ears
still
grow
continue.
for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And my nose, I thought, was great, and I was like, "Oh, I love my nose."
Your nose is great.
It's not bad. Look, I'm not criticising. I'm saying it in jest. But then when I've looked back at pictures, I'm like, "That's really grown over the last 10 years." So when it gets to another 10. You know, am I going to be all nose?
Ooh,
and
Jack says, "Oh, conk."
Oh, conk.
He calls his nose a conk.
And in general life, I'm like, oh, it's a very symmetrical nose. And then as soon as you take a picture, it's like twists to one side. Do you know, like how iPhones and that?
It always looks like
just a bit. They just don't represent how I truly feel about myself.
Just that way.
And then I'm like, why is my nose bent?
It's a gorgeous nose. We have. Right, this is, I don't know whether anybody else has ever heard this, but this is something that me and my friend always say, like, you're either a pig or a fox in terms of, like, your features. Some people can be both, which we'll call a pox, but, like, you've got either quite, like, sharp features and slim.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Or you've got quite round and plump features. I'm very much a pig, and you're very much a fox.
And I would rather have been a pig.
You can't choose your animal.
No, you can't.
But yeah, you're either like a pig or a fox. You know, if you've got like quite big eyes, like round lips, like quite a round or wide nose, I'd say you're more piggy. And when you've got like more narrow, thin, sharp kind of features,
I understand. You're like
more
you got more of a thin, pointy nose. Your jaw probably comes out a bit thinner. Maybe your whole face.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So I think my nose is more piggy. My whole face is more piggy. Round eyes, round lips, round nose, round face.
Yeah.
Round balloon.
I love your nose.
So yeah, I think I would rather my nose.
Last one, lips.
Mine,
Yours.
I would say.
Mine are very thin.
They're not really thin.
I never said really thin. I said very thin. Stop exaggerating.
You've got a really great bottom lip.
What's wrong with me top lip?
No, there's nothing wrong with your top lip. I feel like most men don't really have full lips. Maybe it's because all women have got lip filler.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I you know, if I had to choose, I'd rather a bigger top lip. But, you know, it doesn't bother me.
You've got a really gorgeous mouth. Smile, teeth.
All the compliments today.
Yeah. Can't wait to get you
What else
today.
Height.
A height, doesn't matter.
Does this sound really wrong? We're like sort of creating our...
Yeah, do you mind? We're just creating our baby. Height, we're both short. Our whole family is short. Your mum and dad are really small.
Oh yeah,
your brother's small.
I think for
my mum and dad are small.
You know, it is what it is. I think if, and again, we're only just saying this in jest, but if I had,
we don't need guys. Do you know what? We actually don't need disclaimers on this podcast because it's just lighthearted. Oh, yeah, this is not Instagram.
I would say if I had a boy in the future, I'd rather, you know, ideally I'd say 6 foot. You know, I'm 5 foot.
There is no chance we're getting 6 foot from anywhere.
And I've just, you know, always been sort of relatively short. Well, I've been short in most.
You're not short. You're average.
No, I'm not short. I think it's because I'm slim. You know, I've seen a lot of 5'9" guys stocky and they look really tall.
No, I actually feel like it's the opposite. I feel like when a man is quite big and they would be your height, they actually look smaller because it like blocks them out. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Whereas when you're slimmer, you always appear taller, I think.
That's why
I look like a block.
I have never appeared tall.
No, but I disagree with you there. I have to disagree with you.
But for female,
but we're not getting a 6 foot boy from anywhere.
For female, I would say like 5'6", 5'5". How tall
I think with a female, it just works whatever
doesn't matter,
if you're tall, you're blessed because you're like Kendall and Hailey and you're like a supermodel. If you're short, you're cute. If you're in the middle, you're super cute. I think for a woman, for a man, it doesn't really matter. Even though I would say that most women don't go for short men, they just don't.
What about feet? Because we've both got disgusting feet. No. Yours are bad, but in a weird way, I'd probably rather yours.
Do you know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you because your toes are somewhere else.
They're just really
my toes
long.
Are webbed, right? But I feel like, you know, cheeky little snip. And if my feet weren't webbed, they're really nice feet.
Yeah.
Like there's no like really big toe going on or anything like that. Yours, they're like
second and third toe are like the length of my finger.
I've never seen anything so long, so skinny, so bony, but such a weird shape.
They've got
at the
a lot
same time.
of like curves, haven't they? Like they go in, then it's like the bone, and then in again, and then out.
If you did an X-ray on Jack's feet, they'd look the same as his actual feet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
very
the X-ray version. You're like,
I still like them though.
Oh, I'm really glad that you've got that self-love about yourself. Because they're tragic. I don't love them.
Right. Okay.
Well,
that was a great game.
I think there was one time where India actually said when we were on holiday, God, Taylor, your feet are better than Jack's.
Yeah, probably. It doesn't offend me. That's one of my items that I'm all right with.
Okay.
If you said it about anything else, I'd be going bright red and going in my room crying. Just not my feet.
You're just full of, you know what? In 2023, you are just full of self-love.
Yeah.
Nothing
I love my toes. Yeah. So, it's the new year. And how do you feel about this time of the year? This is a period where it's obviously the end of the year. I personally think it's quite an emotional time of the year because I always sort of think of it as another year's passed and like
I think that's a very negative way to think.
I don't think completely like this. Obviously it's exciting, but I also think there's an element of like my friends and family, everyone's mainly my family, like my parents and grandparents are all a year older, and that really scares me, and I had a big issue with that for many years, didn't I?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's when your issue like your old issue comes back in where you're so terrified of death.
Yeah, I'm so
Jack
terrified
had a really
of
big
death.
fear of death.
Not myself death.
You did a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
But mainly other people. And I mean, what a horror, that's a horrible way to live. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that actually have that, because I do get it in that you're terrified of other people dying, but then you don't get to, what you have to come back to is that you don't get to enjoy them in the present if you're constantly worried about them dying. Well, and at the same time, you're almost attracting it.
Yeah, but basically, I'd never really had anybody close to my, in our family. We're very, extremely lucky with this.
Extremely grateful.
Had actually died. And I would say for about 3 years, it completely consumed me. So in terms of, I would wake up first thing in the morning, and I'd be like, right, my parents are now 61. Okay, and this is why
Where did it even start, by the way?
I've had this, from a very, very young age. I would start looking at like how old my parents are getting, how old
was it when you hit a certain age, like maybe like a teenager, and you kind of, because when you're a kid, you don't realize things age so much.
Yeah, but I had realized from a very, very young age, start to think extremely deeply about life.
That's Pisces for you.
And why am I here, and people are getting older, and I'm literally very, very young, and like, I've got to do this, because I think I'd associate, and this is what drives me a lot, and especially in business and other things that I've done quite well in, is I can see or picture the end now, and I have done for many years. I can literally picture myself when I'm 80 and this, and I'm trying to put myself at 80 with no regrets and being content at that age. But yeah, I've always thought very, very deeply, and maybe it is a Pisces thing or a me thing, about people getting older. And I'd look at my mainly my family, my friends' family, anything, can be like, oh my God, and they're getting older, and it would really depress me. And I would think of it every morning, every night. And that is actually how I met our life coach, Zav, who then went on to help you, because I was like, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to speak to someone. And the particular reason I spoke to Zav was because he's older than me. He's I believe he was like 50.
Yeah, you mentioned this in the last podcast.
And I like to listen to from people in their older age, and then they can tell me. So yes, there's probably different life coaches out there in different aspects. But for me, it was someone who were around my age, but I want to listen to someone who's older. And whenever I speak to like my grandparents or stuff, I'd like to ask them how they actually feel, and what does it feel like to be old. And I don't think a lot of people ask them that question, because it's I don't know, it's a bit scary to ask, like, are you, when you're like 80, are you still scared of death at 80 or 90? It's quite hard. I have sort of beat around the bush and ask those questions, but are you still scared of dying at 80? That would terrify me. I feel like if you get to like 80 or 90, you're like, I've had a bloody good life.
I think that's why that's all.
Sorry for being so deep.
No, but that's all that anyone can hope for, isn't it? To get to that age once for one, but to be able to go like, I'm actually really content with when it happens, because I've had a great life. Yeah,
I think if you, I mean, and what actually made me stop thinking about this is my granddad actually died at the age of 90 a couple of years ago, and that was the first death. And then I realised very quickly after that, obviously it was dramatically sad because we were like best friends. I thought, do you know what? How lucky is he? So lucky to have lived to 90.
That's a good age.
We would all just...
He lived a
some
very
people aren't even
life.
here now. There's people that I went to school with that aren't even now. So how can I be like upset that he lived to old age and then died? So after that, I've changed, and I'm sort of over that now.
Yeah.
But it does get me, it just a little bit creeps in. And I feel like, hopefully.
But I do feel like you, and I've said this, I think, about Jack before. Jack is like the most emotionally skilled person I know, and very smart. And I think you're very, what's the word? You live very consciously. I'm more of a you know, I can live very passively where I can let days slip by and those kind of things. Whereas you're a very conscious liver. And what I mean by that is you're very conscious with your time, and you know, and sometimes it can annoy me about you, and it can annoy you about you, that you're very much like, oh, you know, yesterday you did it and you said something like you'd had a nap, bearing in mind we'd had to take our dog to the emergency vets very early in the morning, and we hadn't had much sleep at all because we were really anxious because he wasn't well the night before. So we'd had very little sleep. And then Jack yesterday, I can't nap in the day. I just can't do it. And Jack had a nap on the sofa. I went up and started doing some bits and bobs. And you were probably out for like 2 hours or something. And then he woke up and he was like, oh, I've wasted the day now. Like, I'm gutted. I wouldn't think that. If I'd had a nap, I'd be thinking I really needed that. Whereas Jack's like, oh, I've wasted the day now. Like, get a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, I had wrote a list of what I wanted to achieve in those hours, and now I'm like, oh, I've just missed out on 5 things that I was going to do.
Yeah. So as much as like you being like, you can be this way with life and dying and everything, it does make you a very conscious liver, in that you do fill your days a lot. Yeah. And I can be quite passive with that.
And I would add to that as much as you say, oh yeah, you're really skilled, I think if I was better skilled, I would learn to enjoy
relaxing more.
So when I see Tay,
you do struggle to relax.
You go, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm not relax. It's just you're going to be happy in this situation. And I look at her and I go, she's really bloody happy. And she's at peace.
Sitting eating mini eggs on
brilliant.
The sofa.
And then I also think that when you overthink and you're a deep thinker, that it also creates anxiety. Do you feel like you're a really big empath? Or
there's massive positives and negatives.
Yeah,
to both.
Because when I'm in like public situations, I'm not just thinking of me and the person I'm with and just zoning out. I'm like picking up on everything, and I'm like, I've seen every single thing that everyone in the room's done. Which I'd rather just go, I don't care about any of that. I'm just going to enjoy this moment.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a bit of deepness. So
no, but I like that. I like that. And I had one more thing to add to that as well, because you are that way about death and parents living and stuff. You're always like, oh, we should get that one holiday in with, you know, my parents and your parents, or, you know, we should do this with them, or we should organise this or whatever, because, you know, they're getting older, and you're very conscious of that. And I do feel like you are going to be a person, especially with your parents, and I know I will as well, because we do spend so much time with them, that you won't have any regrets. No. Because you have been so actively conscious of spending time and doing those things with them and not letting those opportunities slip by. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had that with my granddad. I would literally, when he got to like, I don't know, 87 or, I mean, I spent a lot of time with anyway for the last 30 years, but then towards the end I would literally be thinking, right, he could have 6 months. So if I try and see him as many times as I can, I won't have that regret, and I'll organised to go around on a Tuesday and a Friday.
Until we went to Spain, you had lunch with them.
Yeah, I'd go around twice a week without fail, and any other times that I could. But I had a routine.
You used to go on your lunch break at work.
Yeah, I'd go around on my lunch breaks.
Days. So cute.
And yeah, I definitely don't have any regrets for that. We always had a little routine as well. He'd like to put a couple of bets on a football, so we'd always ring each other about how we've lost all of our money on them. Even though it was like £5, but it was good times.
And you used to take jelly deals.
Yeah, I think this might have finished him off, actually.
I was just going to say that.
I think it was a bit of an old age heart attack, but do you know, he loved jelly deals. And whenever
finished him off.
He used to take me down to the Leicester races when I was like 12. And this is how I got into little bits of gambling with him. And he'd always really all day be like, oh, I'm going to get some of those jelly deals from the van. And we hadn't been races for many years, and I found the supplier, like the bulk supplier, I don't know, like Cornwall or something, of the jelly deals, but you had to buy like 5 kilograms for like 100 quid. So I was like, do you know what, I'm just going to buy him them. So then I rang him like, there's something turning up, and he was like, bloody hell, there's about 75 jelly deal, like packs of jelly deals. And then I was like, how'd you getting on? And then a week later, like, I finished them all off. They were gone. And then I'd send him another. So he had about 10 lots of jelly deals in 6 months, and then he passed away.
Oh.
So, Right. So in terms of feeling this time of year, you can feel very hyped up. You can look on social media and see so many other people hyped up. And then it can get a little bit of overwhelming of like, am I doing enough? Why are they all feeling so much energy? For me, it's just another day. Where do you stand with this? And
I don't feel
what
like
do you
that.
do?
I don't feel like that.
I know, but maybe some of the listeners do.
No, they definitely do. But what I'm saying is, I don't feel because I think with social media as well and these like New Year, New Me things, you know that 99% of the people who are putting that like that you live like that. 99% of people who say they're going to have a New Year's resolution or whatever, it lasts a week and then you're just actually back in the same routine that you were back in 2022. So I feel like if we were to listen to everybody who had these great intentions, then you could be feeling like that. But the reality is, it like as much as I do personally love it, because I think fresh start, not New Year, new me, New Year, same me. You know, I want to be better. I want to do better things, but it really is just. It's just another day, isn't it? It's just another year. So I don't really eat into that pressure. But what I do like to do, and I don't make like a really big deal of this, and I actually did it probably 2 weeks before the new year came in, but I just have a list on my notes of like a few bullet points of things that I really do want to achieve in that year. It's not a huge list. I already sent it to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I always do, maybe a couple of weeks before or whatever. And because I'm consciously know what I want to achieve anyway throughout the year, you know, for the next year kind of thing. So I just have that written down. And in terms of goal setting, that's as far as it goes, really. But yeah, I don't eat into the kind of pressure. And I don't think anybody should, because I do think that people just kind of get very excited. They have all that momentum, and most people kind of lose it anyway. So if you were to compare yourself to people who they've probably already given up on their New Year's resolutions, then, you know, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But what I think that we have done, which has been really, really nice, and this wasn't like a conscious decision we made. You've made a few New Year's resolutions, like personal ones yourself, and then you've been listening to a lot of Tony Robbins, because I can hear it downstairs, and I think that's consciously made me think like, oh, I want to listen to a bit of something like positive. So I've been listening to a lot of Gabrielle Bernstein. I think that's how you say her name, Gabby Bernstein, who wrote The Universe Has Your Back, a Super Attractor, Judgment Detox. She's written some really good books. She's like a spiritual coach. And I've been listening to stuff on YouTube, which I do anyway, but probably more now than ever, and listening to a lot of the Stephen Bartlett podcasts, which I feel like are getting bigger and bigger. Like I feel like everyone's listening to them at the minute. Yeah,
Stephen Bartlett and Jay Shetty are two of the leaders at the moment.
Yeah.
Really good.
And I've just been actually probably this last week not really been listening to, and it wasn't like conscious, but more than watching TV, I've been listening to those things, and it's really, really filled my cup. And there's been like two little things, like what I'd like to call golden nuggets, that I've like been and came to you and been really excited with, haven't I? That I've like learned from them. And the first one, I'm very breathless. Do you want to talk about yours a minute? Yeah, I've gone all very breathless.
So
pregnancy.
For me, like the thing is with like what we say, personal development or happiness is basically you can't just go and do something once. It's basically the same as the gym. Exactly. You can't go to the gym once and then think that you are completely happy and content. You sort of have to do it ongoing. And I had done that for a long period of time. I'd listened to loads of personal development. I'd actioned what I had, which is more important than listening, you know, putting it into action. I think you could basically listen to one CD, watch one podcast, whatever, and then listen to that for 10 years and apply that. You would have fantastic results rather than trying to listen to 1,000 podcasts and never take an action upon any of them.
100%.
But what I'd noticed the last year or two, or I'd sort of slowly got out of routine with a lot of them. I'd still like kept up with certain things, and for me the new year I was like, do you know what, everything that I'm not content with, I'm changing now. And I am going to listen to when I listen to, let's say ultimately you got to do like what makes you happy. If you're happy, then just listen and watch and do whatever you want, because we're all chasing happiness. Some people might get happy from listening to a podcast, getting hyped up, putting it into action, they'll be happy. Someone might be happy from winding down and watching a Netflix. So if you're happy, it doesn't matter what you do. You don't have
ever
to go
do
and
things
achieve
based on what other people are doing, because you're actually taking away from your own happiness.
The whole thing that we're trying to do is chase the feeling of being happy. Now, some people, that means that they've got to go and earn £1 billion to feel happy. Some people, it means they can create a family, go out and have family time, and they're happy. So it's different for anyone. Whoever's feeling happiest the longest is basically
another winner,
the most successful.
100%.
And but with these podcasts and things like that, I've just started like doubling up. Like if I'm doing the gym now, I'll be listening to a podcast whilst I'm doing the gym. If I'm sat in bed, I'll be now learning Spanish. Just little things. And what I've learned as well is, from my experiences, sometimes I write down, like, I'm like, Joe, what? When you look at the time freedom that we've got, and at the moment I've got a lot of time freedom, I'm like, right, I'm going to do an hour of piano a day. I'm going to do an hour of Spanish a day. I'm going to do an hour of the guitar a day. I'm going to do gym, and then I'm going to do an hour of cardio. And I write all these down.
Very overwhelming.
Yeah, and basically, you can probably do it for a day or two. Obviously, that's exaggerated. Maybe it's half an hour, but you can do it for like a week, and then you can't carry it on.
Not
and
attainable.
then you actually feel like you've let yourself down, and then you create this identity,
and you have feelings of unhappiness.
You create you then create this identity of, oh, I can't achieve those things. So what I've gone back to is literally a few things. I've got my must do's or my must haves, which is like my gym, 10 minutes of Spanish. Just do any Spanish, and then it'll be 10 minutes of piano. Loads of little things that I know I can literally achieve them. And if I have the time or the energy to do longer, I'll do longer. But the aim is just to try and build up that muscle of consistency, achieving, making myself feel, boom, I'm on a roll. I've hit that, I've done that, and I'm now becoming this person that's just, oh, he always does this. He's that person. He's a guy that...
Consistency wins.
Consistency.
Always. And ticking things off feels so good.
Yeah, and another thing that I have, and I've done this the last few years, is basically, you can do this with any app, notes in your iPad, literally any single thing that I'm asked to do from you, or I need to do it myself, I literally write everything instantly. I write everything down in the app to-do list, and then the night before the next day, I'll drag across to the new list of 5 things that I'm going to achieve that day. But the thing is with these...
You're so good with things like that.
The thing is with these things is because you'll say something like, or I will notice so many little things, and you're like, if you don't write them down, you're never going to do them. Like, let's say... And they're pathetic things. Like, let's say, I don't know, we need to change the battery in the remote control. Or I need to recharge the Ring doorbell. All of these little things. Obviously, you've got so many big things going on. Amongst that, there's so many of these little things. And if I don't write them down, I won't come back to them again until it's like I go to use the remote and it's not working. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, I should have gone shop.
Just living again.
So I write all of these down. And then I seen something actually on one of that podcasts. I don't know whether it actually meant this. Was it that, is his name Seth or something? And I seen it, he's basically said all like jobs or all whatever they are, they're all equal. So rather than thinking, right, I've got to do this at a higher...
The job's the job.
To make yourself feel content, they're all of equal value. So I drag 5 across. And then I go, right, I'm actually going to drive to the shop to buy some AA batteries. Normally I'm like, this is a waste of bloody time. I could be doing a money value job. I could be earning money and I'm doing this bloody thing. But you go and do it and you get it and feel content about that it's an equal value job. You go and get it done. You then go and, I don't know, sweep up the driveway, all of these things, or clear out the garage, whatever they are. And once you start doing them, again, don't drag over too many to the next day. I've dragged over I could smash like 20 of them. And then I've been caught up with something and I've not done any and I'm like, I can't even get them done. So just, if you know you can do 10, just drag over 3. And if you tick off the 3 and you have more time, do the 10. But the idea is about telling yourself, I'm always achieving what I say I'm going to do. And now I believe and trust in myself. My identity is that I'm someone who says I'm going to do something, I do it. To yourself.
Where I would say that I'm everyone's human design is different. And when you can actually, I don't know a lot about human design, but the basic thing that I do know is that everybody's human makeup is different. Obviously, what makes Jack tick, well, hopefully we do share a lot of mutual ticks, like, you know, what makes us happy, because obviously that's why we're in a relationship. But in terms of like what consciously makes you happy, feel fulfilled, fills your cup, those kind of things, I'm a lot more loose with that, and like something that I would have rather than like a to-do list where I'm dragging things over. You know, there is definitely days where there's like, oh, there's this content that I have to film because it's one of my partnerships. You know, on that day it would be like, yeah, that's a deadline, I have to get that done. But I'm more of I want to consciously feel happy today. And maybe this comes from like past depression, anxiety, just really not feeling happy. But my list is more of a list of like, I have a list in my notes called Sparks Joy, and it's stuff that makes me feel happy. And so more of my day-to-day achievement is actually not doing things and ticking things off, but it's more of like, at the end of the day, I don't want to feel depressed and I want to feel happy. And so like I've got a list that says Sparks Joy, and I have things that I know if I'm doing them, even just it could just be 2 or 3. Obviously, the more I do, the happier I feel, then I feel good. And for me, that's like real achievement. So, and that's just how different people work. Like, I'm not a person who's a very organized. I am in some ways, but then in a lot of ways I'm not like organized, ticking things off. That's not my human design, but that's Jack's human design, and that's what makes him feel really happy, fulfilled, whatever. So like, just an example, just being at home with Jack, that can make me feel happy. If I just did that every day, like I was just happy just being at home with Jack, I wouldn't be happy. But it's one of the things that contributes to my happiness. Another thing is walks with the dogs. Like, it makes me feel really happy when I know that they're really fulfilled and they're really happy and they've gone out and they've had a good time, and I can see them like snoozing on the sofa. Like, them being content makes me happy. Sitting with my morning coffee, a big one for me, and you help me with this, Jack, is a tidy, organized environment. I'm a very environment person, aren't I?
Yeah.
You can see my mental health slips.
This is a good one when you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned before, let your partner tell you what makes them happy. And then I've built this into my routine now of, I'll wake up in the first half hour of the day, I'll forget all my jobs, I'll just tidy. I'll then know that Tay will then start the day happy. And then if I want to go and then play football or something, you're in a content mood because you're like, yeah, that's fair. You're getting up an extra half an hour early, helping me feel great. You feel great. That sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? What ticks your boxes? I know it doesn't have to be one for one.
No.
But if you both start doing it off your own back, it snowballs into a good effect for the relationship.
Definitely. So like a tidy, organized environment, that makes me feel really happy, like just no chaos and peace. I've got loads of different ones, but you know, some of them can be like food shopping and being organized with meals and cooking, baths and pampering myself, keeping on top of like my hair looking nice. That's not today. And my fake tan routine, just like self-love and appreciation, and getting up a bit earlier and making myself look nice, or putting outfits together and feeling good in what I wear, trips out with myself, grabbing coffee, learning new things that improve me as a person. If I consciously have this list and I can feel myself, and I don't feel like I've done this for a long time, and I feel like I owe a lot of that to being pregnant, because it's just taken over my body, where I feel just like a whole new sense of gratitude and like fulfillment. But if I could have ever found myself slipping, and you do sometimes, and you feel like, why am I not happy? And then you start to think, well, I've just been really passively living and not doing anything that really makes me happy, but just ticking off all of these things, not like what Jack's tick list is, but like going to work and feeding the kids and doing this. And actually you realize I've not done anything really recently that makes me happy. And just by having this list, you can go back into your notes and check in with yourself and be like, well, these are all the things that makes me happy, and I haven't done any of them. So my cup isn't filled at the minute, which is why I don't feel happy, or why I feel anxious, or why I feel depressed, or why I just don't feel content. So I think that everyone can benefit from having one of these lists, where you can just check in on yourself and you go, oh, why do I feel happy today? Oh, because I've done 5 things that make me happy. And you can just make sure that you're keeping on top of your filling your cup. And that's not And some people think, oh, I haven't got time to do that because I've got kids and I work and I've got a really heavy job and stuff. But if you find the time to do those things, you will actually be better in all of the other areas. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not being selfish, like wanting to do that for yourself. You will actually be better for your children and better for your relationships and the people around you and your workplace and everything.
Yeah.
Once you have filled that up for yourself. That's what I learned with my life coaching.
The mindset of, like, let's say you go into work, or let's say you're doing this with your children. It's the mindset of like that you're choosing to do this, and that will be something that you really enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say that could be one of the happiness things if you flip it in your head and go, "This is I'm absolutely." I don't know what it could be. We haven't had children yet, but that could be one thing for us to work out.
My theme is, and this is something I really, really learned when I was going through that really, really bad mental state, 2020. And when I started my life coaching, is that the happier that you can make yourself and filling up your cup and consciously filling up your cup and doing things that make you happy, the better your mental health is going to be, but also everybody around you, benefits, that's the word.
That's it.
Everybody around you benefits, because you know yourself, hurt people, or when you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to be the best for other people.
100%.
If you can fill your cup up, you will then live in what my life coach, what Zav would say, you can then give everybody else your overpour. So for example, if I'm doing all of those things that spark joy and my cup is so full that it's overflowing, everybody else gets my overflow. I have my own cup, it's filled, all of my great stuff is there.
Energy, positive energy,
and then anything that's coming over that, because I filled it up so much, everybody else gets, and they're touched by my overflow, which sounds disgusting.
And I remember people go, "Isn't that selfish?" No, putting yourself first and then
it's the least selfish thing you can do.
Selfish should be your first. You're
putting yourself first, second, third, fourth,
fifth, then family. But it's not selfish to put yourself first, then your family, your friends,
Exactly. So you want everybody to be living in your overflow and not living in the bottom of your cup, because when you've not done all of those things that make you happy, you're just not going to be benefiting to anybody, including your children, husband, partner, wife, whatever. So you got to fill yourself up.
Actually, which I learned from a different life coach many years ago, was like how I was like, how do I define success or happiness? What is that? How would you define that? Or how do I get to that? How do you get to the ultimate happiness? And what she said is that basically we strive to improve. The element of improving gives us the most content and happiness. So she would say, look, write out a list of every single part of your life. So it could be your friends, your family, your dogs, your children, your work, everything, your faith, your mental health, and then write a score of where you're at. So really think deeply into it and say, this is where you've got to
be really honest with yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to write a true assessment of where you are. And let's say it's out of 100 and you're right, okay, with my like mom or my dad, I'm like a 26, whatever. And then it doesn't matter where you are at that point. That's just where you're starting. And then the aim is, how could I make that score go higher? And you write it down and you go, do you know what? I could actually, take my mum out for a meal, once a week, and have a real good chat and make it all about her, make her feel nice, whatever it should be. And then you write all of that down, and then you just literally slowly improve in every single area of your life, and you should feel extremely happy. So like one of them
could be like health, and so like going to the gym once a week when you don't go at all.
Yeah, if your gym level, let's say your health is like, I don't know, a 1, you overdrink, you do all of these things. Just make the tiniest change out of all of that. You're not trying to get to level 100. You're just trying to make the tiniest change and then improve that over weeks, months, years.
And that makes so much sense to Tony Robbins's like main mantra, which is progression equals happiness.
Yeah. Well, where she learnt all of her skills or development was from Tony Robbins. Oh, really? She said she'd been on like 20 of his courses and enrolled in that. So it was all sort of tied. But do you know what I've learned is most of the life coaches out there, they all say very similar things in different ways, and it's more about who you relate to,
connect with.
So they're all, it's, you know, it's out there, and it's who you like the tone of the voice, listen to, and actually pick it up.
Yeah, I think we should wrap this up here.
Yeah, I think
we've gone over so many different subjects and stuff, but I really love this.
Yeah,
I feel like this has reaffirmed everything that we want to do for ourselves and stuff as well. Do you know what I mean?
We've got some goals.
You have to let us know if there was
anything
that you really liked from what's been said there, or anything that you might start to take on for your, you know, it might just be that you're going to write your own Sparks Joy notes, or it might be that you want to like grade yourself in your areas of your life, or
the good thing is as well is well, it's not a good thing, but if you ever DM us, how does the podcast, it's always hard to know, like, any feedback's great, even if you go, it's crap, or it's just nice to know.
Please don't say that.
Because you never actually ever know until someone DMs Tay, and I'm like, oh my god, what did they say?
Yeah, he absolutely dies over me reading them out. He's like, oh, say that one again, one again.
Well, yeah, so I absolutely love that. And again,
the feedback's amazing.
If you leave a review on any of the podcast websites,
I'm so grateful for
click that. Click whatever star you want, click the star, and then you can write a couple of words. Again, that gets us so hyped, and hopefully one day the podcast will go to people that aren't in the GG. It will spread to like random viewers. I'm guessing at the moment it's just GG, but anyway, I'm waffling on. Love you guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And we'll be back it will be episode 7.
We're going to aim for 2 a week. If we can do 2 a week, that'd be 100 in a year. Yeah. You know, small.
Other than Christmas, we've been pretty good.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you in the next one.
Okay. Love you guys. Bye.